Hello, friends and fellow seekers. Welcome back to the Law of One Spiritual Advice podcast. My name is Elle. I am sorry if I have taken a bit of a break in the last month or so. Life happens. I went on a little vacation and then, procrastination, one thing leads to the next. So if you appreciate my podcast, I'll just start by asking if you could hit the old like button. Feel free to leave comments and things like that. I always read them. But let us just begin. I don't have any particular quotes today. I just have some of my general personal musings of some of the lessons and ideas that I've been thinking about over the last couple of weeks. And one of those have to do with sensitivities and maybe being overly sensitive to general catalyst or general experience that's happening in our lives. We all know the world is a pretty chaotic place right now. A lot of things happening, a lot of news getting you to try to pick a side and to really just, push us into a sort of anxious state. And what I find is that as all of this catalyst and stuff is coming our way, it can sometimes overload us and cause us to sort of recoil back in ourselves and just want to shy away from the world because there's too much going on. We're overly sensitive to all the catalyst that's happening. And since you are here listening to this whole podcast, I have to make some assumptions about you. If you're a seeker of the Law of One, then I would imagine that you're sort of working with the open heart. And what I've gathered over the past couple of weeks, just speaking with one of my loved ones who I feel this happens to, but it happens to me as well, is that you can just be overly sensitive to catalyst, which causes anxiety. And what I would posit is that is sort of like the open heart gone wrong. We have our energy body. We're open to the lots of different emotions and energies from other people and from the world. And if it doesn't have a place to go, it doesn't have a place to be used and catalyzed or, put into your being, then it can, cause a lot of overthinking and which leads to a lot of anxious thoughts and, anxiety and anxious thoughts aren't very healthy in my opinion. It causes stress in your body, and with the body being a creature of the mind, we would like to avoid stress so that we avoid, different types of sicknesses and catalyst of that nature having to manifest and, show themselves to us so that we can say, oh no, you know what, all of this stress in my mind isn't very healthy for me. I should probably try to calm down and relax and, get back to what's important, which is what I want to get at in this podcast, is of service. So what I think is that when we are working with spiritual seeking, we have the open heart, we're trying to work with acceptance and loving others and loving ourselves and just being a generally kind person and serving others. That would mean that, we're attempting to serve. However, I believe that when you do that and you're open up to all that types of energy, you're attentive to different people's needs and emotional states, that to me is you being sensitive, right? You are being sensitive to the emotional state and the love that's needed or the love that's given from others and to ourselves. And I take that sensitivity as a gift and a curse, as it may be. And that is because, like I said, if you are not using the gift of your sensitivity to point you in the direction of service, then it's like the wiring's gone wrong and it causes you to overthink and be anxious. So I like to think of that as sort of like evolution gone wrong. We're spiritually evolving and we're opening our heart and we're opening ourselves to all these energies, and then we need to put them in the right place in our mind. And I think that a lot of people on this planet, they don't know what to do, right? There's so much chaos going on. They're not sure what to do. And so for me, I like to think that what we should be doing is serving, both serving others and serving ourselves. We need to be a good example of what we wish to see in the world. And so with that, knowing that this life is about service and that there's certain quotes, which I don't have in front of me, of course, but if all is the creator, then there is nothing but the creator to serve. No matter what you're doing in little or small amounts or here or there, all is the creator. It is impossible not to serve. So step back from what you think service is. Sometimes we think that service has to be high and mighty and magical, and we have to reach thousands of people, or we have to be making a really good impact that we can see with our eyes, and we can see it in the physical, and it's a manifestation of our service, and people are patting us on the back and like, good for you, you're serving wonderfully. But I would suggest that service isn't that. I mean, it can be that, and it's okay if it is that, and don't let it pump your ego too much if it goes down that route. But I like to think that service is just simple. It is what is in front of you. What is in front of you today? What is in your daily life? All that service is mostly, in my opinion, is more of an attitude. It's an attitude of how may I serve today? You wake up in the morning, you don't have to have some glorious plans to go out and feed the homeless and save the world from war or whatever it may be. You really just have to attempt to keep your heart and your eyes open to the opportunities for service as they come into your daily life. You have friends, you have coworkers, you have family, you have pets, you have your house to take care of. You could clean your room, right? There's just all of these really small things that are in our lives daily that I think that we like to take for granted, and we don't realize that, in fact, that is our service. Our service is always in front of us. It's always in front of our eyes. It's always just waiting for us to take advantage of it. And then we're also gifted with this sensitivity because we are attempting to be spiritual seekers. And as we are doing that, we tend to open up the energy body and open up the heart. And so we can become sensitive to the needs and the thoughts and emotions of others, as it should be. But sometimes we are overly sensitive, which can cause that anxiety if we're not, putting it into action and attempting to serve others. We have this gift/curse with oversensitivity, and the reason why we're given it is so that we can better relate to other people, so we can empathize with them, so that we're not just narrow visioned and getting lost in ourselves. We have others to help correct us and help to harmonize our energies with theirs. And to me, that is what service is. That's what the second and especially the third chakra is about community. And when you are involved in your community, whether it just be a community of your family or friends or any type of, others that you may think of, they help to harmonize our own energies and help to provide feedback to us so that we can do something with those sensitivities, so we can make sense of them, so that we can be a better empathizer. We can learn lessons about ourselves and about others. So I think that sensitivity is there so that we can be attentive to people's emotional needs, but with sensitivity but no service, the feedback manifests in anxiety. If you don't have anything, if you have all of these thoughts about different coworkers and friends and family, and they have all these problems and they're pushing them your way, and you're not putting something into action within yourself, either just, it doesn't have to be anything grand, like you don't even necessarily always have to do something. Sometimes you can just be a listening ear, but it's mostly within the intention of your service. It's mostly within, well, what do you intend to do? Well, in my daily life, I intend to serve. I intend to serve others. So when they come at me with a problem or some sort of issue or anxiety of themselves, I like to think of, how may I serve this person? How may I make their life a little bit better, a little easier, a little less stressful, so that we can both just exist on this planet in a little bit of an easier state. Because also what I find, right, it's like, as you get all of these anxieties from other people coming your way, it gives you that opportunity to serve. And with opportunities to serve, when you are serving others, you're also serving yourself, because when you do something nice for somebody, it tends to make you feel good, doesn't it? Well, that's the beauty of service to others, is that it solves the paradox of service to self versus service to others, right? You can serve yourself at the expense of other people and manipulate them and all of those things to serve yourself, in which case you're only serving yourself and it's at the expense of others. Whereas if you are having the intention to serve others, well, then when you're going out and you're attempting to love and be nice and do kind things and give freely, all of those wonderful ideas of an open heart and service, then they come back to you. They come back in the form of gratitude from others, or even just in seeing the stress melt away from another person, or to see the smile in their face. All of these things will come back. They'll give you purpose. They will give you a reason to be and a reason to live. And that is sort of the idea of what I would like to get across today, is that a lot of us have this anxiety because we don't know where we're going. We don't know what we're doing. We don't know if what we're doing is correct. But my friends, in service is purpose. What I've noticed is that as we attempt to serve others and more, and we get our intention truly aligned with that, not just, one day and then going back the next day, but as you get like a steady form of service with yourself and serving others, taking care of yourself is just as important too, but it gives you purpose. It gives you a reason to be. And I feel that when you have that reason to be, then life makes a little bit more sense. Life doesn't just seem like a dark, sad place that you're lost in and you're just being thrown with the emotional tides of the daily news in the world, going left and right and getting tossed about in the wind. You instead are grounded in this moment. You understand why it is that you're here, and you are here, my friends, to serve and to learn. And through service, even as you attempt to serve others, you will also serve yourself, and you're going to learn a lot of things too, because even if you have that intention to serve someone else, but maybe you don't do it in a very wonderful way, or you make a sort of mistake which doesn't seem like service, well, it's good too, right? Because then it comes back to you and you get to learn about how to be a little bit better, a little nicer, a little more empathetic, a little more caring towards someone else's, emotional state or needs, or whatever it is that they might need, or that you might be attempting to serve them as. So I suppose the idea is that we have our energy body, we have the red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet chakras. In our waking, daily, normal, earthly life, we're going to be dealing with the red, orange, yellow chakras, which are, like I've mentioned before on my Instagram, is that those are like the daily chores, the daily living, the daily life, the going to work, the cleaning your room, the taking care of yourself, feeding yourself, interacting with others on a lower basis. Those are all good things. And those energies are important in that they keep us grounded in this third density, first three chakras, third density. You would obviously be using the 3 there, right? But as we're moving from this third density into the 4th over the next hundreds of years or whatever it may be, we are being encouraged to open our hearts. And so as we open our hearts, we open that heart chakra. It's definitely like opening up yourself up to all the shadow aspects of yourself and the world, because an energy of the open heart is unconditional or universal love. And in order to universally love everything, you have to love everything that you love, and you have to love everything that you hate as well. It's sort of like how you have to love all of the people that you don't even know, which means that is the full spectrum of people that exist out there, good and evil and everything in between. That is how, when you're loving all of those people, that's universal love. That's an open heart chakra. And so as you open that up, you open yourself up to all these types of sensitivities of the world. A lot of feedback comes your way. And if you aren't putting that into action, into your daily life, into learning something about it and doing something about it in your daily life, in other words, attempting to serve is what I would suggest, then all of that feedback, all that sensitive feedback that you're getting is just noise, and it causes anxiety and stress in yourself because it's not necessarily going anywhere. It's just ruminating in your head over and over and over and over again about, oh, well, this has gone wrong. This has gone wrong. Oh my gosh. Oh, what about this? What happens if in the future this happens to me? Like, what if in the future this bad thing happens? All of those anxious thoughts that will come your way, and are quite normal in my opinion, but they lessen, or at least I suppose the focus on them isn't as intense when you are able to look at your daily life, look what's in front of you, and attempt to serve in whatever way. This universe is very large, and you might think that your universe is the world, but it's really not. It's more about just the space, almost just within your vision, within your daily life. Whatever it is that you see, that is out there, well, there are opportunities to serve. And like I said, in service is purpose, and when you have a purpose in life, when you know what you live for, you're here to try to do well, to help others, and to be a loving individual, then life is a lot easier. Even within all of this chaos and all of this shadow work that's going on with everyone and ourselves, we can lighten our load by attempting to just be kind to others, to attempt to serve them. Those are the types of things that I find that always come back to me in a positive light. They always are reaffirmed as, yes, this is the appropriate thing to do. This makes sense. This gives me a reason to live. And when I do that, that then lets the anxieties and all the larger things that I can't control of life melt away. Everything just makes a little bit more sense because you're dealing with things that are actually what are within your control, let's say, rather than, taking on all of the negative shadow work of the world and trying to fix it in your head, because you're never just going to fix something of the world that's out there, like these wars and things like that are going on. You're never going to really be able to do much about that, because as you put the power outside of yourself, you're giving away your power. Whereas, like I said at the beginning, if you wish to be the change that you wish to see in the world, well then, we don't necessarily need to go onto social media and tell other people how to be. You more so can just deal with what's in front of you, deal with yourself, try to be a more loving, caring, empathetic person yourself. And that example that you set will resonate and will ripple out into the world, and that is all you really can do, right? You're not necessarily here to take on all of the woes of the world and be the hero that fixes everything. All you can really do is just fix yourself. Everyone else has their own free will to make this same choice. And so I think that as you make that choice to internalize these things and to actually do something with your daily life, then that's what's actually going to set you free from this sort of matrix, from this dark shadow land. You're going to be looking in front of you, seeing the service that's right there, right available right now, and it will help to let the rest of the things that are out of your control just melt away, is the hope. And so, my friends, that is what I would like to share with you today. My overly sensitive, heart chakra, open-hearted, universal, loving friends out there. I thank you for doing that work, for trying to keep the heart open. The heart can close just as fast as it can open. So, it's no one out here is perfect in being a perfectly loving being at all times. But I appreciate your efforts in attempting to be an open-hearted, loving person and attempting to serve those about you, and attempting to serve yourself as being kind to yourself and being that example that you wish to see in the world. It is not easy, and it takes a lot of work, and sometimes those oversensitivities that we have developed can, get those wires crossed and cause you to sort of have to recoil back and take some time to rest, and that's fine too. You should definitely do that, and then once you're rested and feeling well, then get back out there and attempt to do that sort of active service in your daily life. I promise you it's going to make sense. It's going to provide a sense of purpose, and what more can we do, right? We're just here to attempt to do our best, and from what I have learned, that is doing your best, is just attempting to be a good, open-hearted, loving, serving being. So without reiterating, all of this stuff 20 more times in different words, I think we should just end it there. I know it's been a little while since I've done one of these, so maybe I'm a little bit rusty. I was going going to try to gather some particular quotes that were relevant to this topic, but I've been putting too much pressure on myself to always make these sort of perfect, and sometimes this just helps me to get one out there, get things started, right? Get the active service back in action like I'm trying to explain to you guys, because this is something that gives me purpose and I feel is a good thing to do for myself and for hopefully for all of you. So we're going to just keep it sort of short with that. If you appreciate my service, once again, could you just hit the old like on the podcast? That assists with the whole algorithms and the getting this to out to other people. And if you wish to join my Patreon to assist this project and, even my daily Instagram postings, things of that nature, theoneinfinitecreator.com is my website. You can just scroll down there to the support section. I appreciate all the love that everyone sends at all times. It never is taken for granted, and I thank you all immensely, and I thank you for listening, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the week, and hopefully you will hear from me again soon. Thank you. Take care.